Okay, we left off. We did the Mishnah yesterday, Samachem base. So like we said, we got major sugyas of kashrus. All right. So just to chaz over the Mishnah out loud, outside. So yayin nesech. So the first case is wine, yayin nesech, which is mamish yayin nesech, fell on top of grapes. So it's cold, so you just rinse it and then you're okay. But if it fell on, but if the grapes had cracks in it, then the yayin nesech penetrates the grapes and therefore it's also right. There's no way to get the yayin nesach out of there. If it fell on top of figs or dates, so then it's going to depend if there's tam. If there's nice and tam, meaning if it gives good tam to the dates and to the pigs, so then it's going to be asur. If it doesn't give tam, then it's going to be mutter. Right? And then we said that, and then we brought a Maisa about it. And the rule is if there's tam, then you're gonna then the mixture is gonna be asr. If there's no tam, then the mixture is gonna be mutter. All right, fine. So zok the Gemara or frak the Gemara Maisa lister. You bring a Maisa that's a stira. First, the Mishnah says that if yayin nesech falls on figs and dates, they're asr. Right, and then it brings a story which happened in Bebitus. It happened with Bitus ben Zainan, and they told him that his dates and his figs are kosher. So it's a stira. Gemara says Chesura Mechsur, there's something missing from the Mishnah. Ba'achikatan is what it learns. Mutter. If the wine that falls on top of the figs and the dates is lefagam, then it's mutter. Meaning, if wine tastes bad on top of figs and dates, then it's going to be no good. It's going to be good. Meaning, if the taste is no good, then it's going to be kosher. Bitus ben Zainan, and there's a story also. Bitus ben Zainan. Shahya maybe Groigris Besfina. He brought these dried figs on a boat. And a barrel of yayin nesach fell down. And it fell on top of them. And the story came in front of the chachamim, and they martyred it. Why? Because it was a nice and tam lefagam. And since it was nice and tam lefagam, so then there's no benefit from it. Basically, the lumdus behind nice and tam lefagam is that if, and we'll see this more in the Gemara Vaita, but if whatever fell in gives it a bad taste, then there's no benefiting from it. Right? There's no benefiting from it. How are you benefiting from it? You're happy that wine went and messed up your figs and your dates. You're very unhappy about it. It makes it taste terrible. So since it makes it taste terrible, so then it's not going to answer it. All right. So that's partially behind this whole thing. That's not. Well, we'll see more. Fine. Ahukri. There was a pile, the chiti of wheat, the nafal chavisa the yayin nesach. A barrel of yayin nesach fell on it. Yeah, meaning you had wheat that a barrel of yayin nesach fell on it. Yes, which obviously I don't know if it's obvious, but it's not going to taste. It's not going to taste. It's not going to taste good, right? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Wheat with people dip their challah into wine. I don't know if that's the same thing, right? But anyways, the chita novel chavisi yayin. So shar yerava l'svuni levicham is a rava mattered it to be sold. He didn't matter it to be drunk, but he mattered it to be sold. Right? So some want to say that this is not talking about pure yayin nesach, because it was pure yayin nesach, it would be also ba'ana. It really means stam yeno. But we're gonna have to see that Gemara on Dafai and Gimel.
Why is it?
Yeah, go ahead.
If it ruined the product, why is it considered no? His figs are worth $100. Now the figs are worth $20. So what kind of no is he getting? He lost $80. Well, why is it
He
called?
did, he did, but
Why is
now
hana from? Why is it hana from the wine? It's not hana from the wine.
he's not. No, Enochanami, he's not. He's losing out, but Lamaisi is still making $20.
I don't consider. I don't.
Meaning he's Enochanami. I'm saying, what are you going to say? Oh, he's a loser and wine fell on his thing, and therefore we should have Rahmanas on him. I mean,
I didn't talk. No, I'm not talking about Rahmanis. We're talking about business. We're
right?
not talking about Rahmanis. It's not
no,
the Chafetz Chaim giving people free herring. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the guy had figs worth $100. Yain Esech fell in it. Now the figs are worth $20. So why? How's he making hana from the Yain Esech? He's not making any hana from the Yain Esech.
He's making $20.
No, he's not. He's getting $20 for spoiled figs.
Right, but
making money from the Yain Esech. I'm sorry.
He is. He's
okay. You want to say it's so fine?
No, I say isn't. It's
go
one second.
right there.
No, I'm saying it. Isn't he? Isn't he? Isn't he getting? Meaning, let's say it was worthless. The Ayin Nesach soaked his wheat. Nobody would buy it. So he lost out, right?
But then he ends up with zero. Correct. He did lose.
But
he lost everything.
now that he didn't lose everything, now that he could salvage it for $20, that's still getting enough from it.
Well, he thought he was going to make $100. Now he's only making $20. So if anything, he's going to be depressed. He thinks he lost $80.
It depends how you look at the figs. If you look at them as figs and the wine as separate entities, then yeah, he's just losing. He's not gaining anything. If you look at them as wine figs, then he's making $20 from wine figs.
Right. That's the way I was looking at it.
Okay, good. So you have a good time with Gershon, that's fine.
And then you know what? If I have to choose sides, I'm not so sure where I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place here.
That's what you. That's what you put. Figure out your position.
I need Naftali Liner. Where's Naftali Liner? yeah.
I'm here. I just got on.
No, I'm kidding, Naftali. I'm saying whatever.
Well, you just got a big compliment. You're neither a rock or a hard place.
Anyway, okay. So let's say Esvei Rabba Bar.
I just got on.
That's okay. You didn't miss anything. Esvei Rabba Bar. I mean, we missed a little Gemara, but that's it. Esvei Rabba Bar Levi LeRava. So Rabba Bar Levi asked Rava, Beged. This is a very interesting case. Beged Shavat by Klayim. You have a Beged that Klayim was lost in it, right? Meaning you know that there was shatnez in here somewhere. There was a piece of linen lost inside your suit, but you have no idea where. Right? So what are you supposed to do with this thing? So Hareza Elohim Karen Elohim, you're not allowed to sell it to a guy. Right? Mardas, and you're not allowed to make it a mardas l'chamor. You cannot make it into a blanket for a chamor. Yeah, meaning why? What? So you're not allowed to sell it to a guy. We're going to see because a guy may go flip it to a yid, and you're not allowed to put it on the chamor because you're going to see this blanket on the chamor. You don't see any linen in it, and you're going to say, "Oh, let me use this blanket for myself." So that's another chashash. You're allowed to make it as tachrichin for meis mitzvah, which a meis doesn't have to keep halacha. So mamela, it's allowed. Now the question is why dafka meis mitzvah? Why not for any meis? Right? Yeah, that's so that's the way. I mean, if you understand Rashi and Tais, the way Rashi and Tais explain it, so then enochanami, it doesn't dafka. It's not dafka for a meis mitzvah, right? What?
Does if somebody has a mes mitzvah to bury, does he have to buy? Does he have to spend money on the mes mitzvah? Does he have to buy tachrichim?
I'm assuming, yeah. I think no.
So now he's getting hana, especially according to you and Gershon, he's definitely getting hana from the Yain Nesach. Mom is saving money out of his pocket.
Right. What do you mean if it's
or out of the Kalayim?
Simcha? Can you bring my earpods and my watch from my windowsill, please? Because there's a lot of playing. Okay, I don't know. I guess the planes are flying overhead. I gotta find my AirPods. We're saying that
The climb is also about no.
yes.
So
No,
if he
no,
has,
no, it's not us about no, not us about
oh,
no,
so
no,
then
it's
I have
not us
nothing
about
to say. I have nothing to say.
no. Yeah, no, Klein's not us about no. The reason why we're asking him to sell it is because he may go flip it to a yid. All right. Let's see the next slide. Lo Avik my time below. Why is it? Why can't you give it to Avik Chachamim? Dilma Asil Lizvuni Yisrael, because maybe he's going to go sell it to Yisrael. So Chanami Asil Lizvuni Yisrael. Maybe here too, when the wine fell on the wheat. Why are we allowed to sell it? Why aren't we chayshid? Why aren't we chayshid that he might go flip this wheat with yayin nesach in it to a yid? Why is that not a concern? So the Gemara says, "Hada shara lemitchinu." This is interesting. I mean, I found this interesting, right? Hada shara lemitchinu lemafinu. So usually when we have a shakavatah in the Gemara, there's a psak in the Gemara, right? And then there was a kasha asked. Here it seems like the kasha was live. How do you call it? It was in real time, right? Because now it says Hada, he went back, meaning Rava changed his psak. Rava initially told him, "You're allowed to go sell it," and now because he asked him this kasha, then he said to him, "You know what? I'm not allowing you to go sell the wheat as is. You can grind up the wheat, ulamafinu, and then afia to bake it." And then you're allowed to sell it to a guy, not in front of a yid. And then because we have the Isra Pas Akum, so then the guy is not going to sell his he's not going to end up selling it to yid because no yid's going to buy it from him. Right? So it seems like this kasha wasn't a shagvatayib afterwards. Right? It's during the Maisa when he paskin, somebody asked him a kasha, and he said, "You know what? You're right. You're selling that there's a chashash. There is a chashash. He's going to go flip it to a yid. I'm going to only let him sell it to a guy in a way that it will never end up being sold to a yid." All right. Fascinating Tosfos here. Tosfos habeget shavah by klayim. The first of the middle lines. Tosfos says the kasha. Why isn't the klayim batal beroiv taka? We're saying that the guy lost a piece of linen inside a wool suit. Okay, so why not say batal beroiv? If you drop a drop of yayin nesech into a mixture, you would say it's batal. So why not here too? Why is it not batal? So Tosfos says that klayim is different because the whole isser of klayim is a mixture, meaning a piece of linen by itself is mutter, and a piece of wool by itself is mutter. When you mix the two together, that's the isser. Okay, so now if you lost a piece of linen inside the wool suit, then because mixture is the isser, so then memela, the whole thing is out. Right?
The gay of the Basa B'chalav is.
Right, right.
It's
What
the
did it
gay
say?
by Basa B'chalav. That's my cholent. Could I put a tablespoon of milk lechatchila into my cholent? It's heter beheter. There's no
Right.
aim of lechatchila. So why can't I do that lechatchila?
Yeah, you should have somebody who doesn't sell food ask the question for you. You shouldn't ask the question.
Yeah.
I don't make cholent. No, but this Tosfos is the answer. It's still answer because that's the answer. Heter beheter.
Oh, isn't that the same heter to have with those milks, those non-dairy milks that have the what's it called in it?
Yeah, it's the same issue.
No, but that's not
Um,
Esther. That's heter beheter without making Esther. That's mutter anyway. Even by Basa B'chalav, dropping a little bit of milk into a massive amount of meat should be mutter. The only Esther usually is a mevatel l'nisser lechatchila. But you're not being mevatel Esther. Milk is mutter, meat is mutter.
Okay, so good. So Tosfos asks a kasha similar to not similar to your kasha, is going to end up in the same place. Tosfos asks, okay, so what about Basa B'chalav? Why is Basa B'chalav not batal? I'm gonna say why is Chas v'chala bottle again? Tyson is asking why is Klayim bottle? I'm sorry, why is Klayim not bottle? So Tyson says because the whole Isser is a mixture. So mainly you can't say there's bittul. Okay, so then how come there's bittul? Like Gershon is asking, why is there bittul by Basar v'chala? Right? If you know that there's 60 times more cholent than the milk that went in there, so then l'chayra it shouldn't be bottle either according to this. To which Tyson answers, Basar v'chala is Xeris HaKosov. That's all. So Basar v'chala is Xeris HaKosov. Other than that, you'd would have a taina. The Basar v'chala it's a Xeris HaKosov. Right?
The Taisus is learning the Zarah b'Shelas l'Nikar for Shishim.
What?
Taisus is learning the Zarah b'Shelas l'Nikar for Shishim.
No, I don't think he's saying
What's
Tyson says
the
derech bishul asur Torah. It's derech bishul, and that would not be derech bishul. That's what Tyson says. Yeah. Okay. Back in the Gemara.
This piece
Yeah.
of linen was linen yarn that got woven in with the other yarn, or was it a square of linen that somebody sewed into the lining, and you just can't tell it from the other stuff?
I'm not sure why. Why do you want to say a difference?
Because I'm wondering if it's distinctly two separate things. So then either maybe it wouldn't be, that's not a mixture. It's just in one. It's just laid on top of the other baguette. So if it's not a mixture,
Okay, no, only I can think is maybe is a deraisa derabanan, what you're saying. Maybe if it's a mixture only in a derabanan way and it's not woven in, so then maybe you would say it's bottled. What?
Even if it's a patch woven in, that's not. It's a suffix to efshel. You could go through the whole baguette and figure out what's linen and what's wool.
Right.
That you would be mechoyev to do.
Right.
But if it's one thread that's woven in somewhere in the baguette, it's going to be impossible to find out where.
Right. No, in a Hanabi, but maybe it would be a derabanan. I don't know. I hear what you're saying. Okay, so let's see. Right, this is to frag the Gemara 5 lines up from the bottom. Tanan yayin nesach shenoval gabi anovim. So from our Mishnah, it says yayin nesach fell on top of grapes. Yadichan, you wash them vein mutaris, and then they're mutter. Fim hayu muvuka is asuris. But if there's cracks in the grapes, then it's awesome. Muvuka is in. If it's broken, yes. She'ein muvuka is light. If it's not broken, then it's not awesome, right? Because it doesn't go in. Meaning, so why by the wheat is it also? Wheat is also smooth. Who says the yayin nesach penetrates? Right. The yayin nesach. It's who says it penetrated the wheat? Right. So Rapapa says shani chiti. No, chiti is different. Hoyel ba'agav dirayu kimevuka is damyan. Because they have some sort of cracks in them. Seems like wheat has some sort of crack in it. So meaning all wheat has cracks in it. So Mamela, the wine is definitely gonna penetrate it. Okay, fine. On Talmud Aleph now we start with the heavy duty min b'minoi, min b'she'ena minoi, and that this whole sugi. So Chamra Atika, if you have old wine ba'anavi, old wine fell on top of grapes. Divrei HaKol b'nois and tam, everybody holds that it's going to depend on whether the old wine puts tam into the grapes. But if you have new wine that falls on the grapes, that's a machloikus. Abaya says it goes with a mashahu, but Rabba says it goes with nois and tam. Now we just need to stop there for a second and say, now what does it mean a mashahu? So basically, min b'minoi. If one type, this is the main rule to understand. Min b'minoi. If one type falls on another type, then that's a mashu. Right? Then it's also b'mashu. Why? Because we can't discern the taste. Right? Meaning, if I have a treifa pastrami, pastrami is not good because it's a salad. But let's say I have a treif that falls into treif cholent falls into kosher cholent. Right, so we're not going to say there that it goes b'shishim. We're going to say that it goes b'mashu. Any amount is going to make it asa. Why? Because since it's the same exact taste, so we have no idea how to tell whether there was any sort of tam put in there, not tam in there, because it's impossible to tell. The memela, it's going to be asa. When it says asa b'mashu, it means that there is no bittul. Right? But if it's one taste into another taste, so then we say it goes with nice and tam. And like we said on Friday, nice and tam basically means shishim, because we don't do the nice and tam thing anymore. We don't give it to a guy. We don't give anything to a guy to taste. So instead of nice and tam, we do shishim. So basically, anytime you say nice and tam, it's shishim. So when Abai is saying it's a mashu, and Rav is saying it's a nice and tam, so basically what Abai is saying is that it's min b'minoi. We look at the wine that it tastes the same as the grape. And when Rav is saying that it's nice and tam, that means he's looking at the taste of wine, that it's different than the taste of the grape, which the Gemara now explains. Abaya Amar b'mashu. What? Yes, that's a machlokes. Yes, that is a machlokes.
So how is it a machlokes amira in here? We don't paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Rava paskins like Rabbi Yehuda?
No, they're both paskening that way. It's just a matter here. We're just having a machlokes over whether it's the same taste or not. Right? And then we have even something bigger. Tosfos says also very interesting. The top Tosfos here. Right? Tosfos says that when you say that something's asur b'mashu, then you don't say nice and tam fagam either. Right? Because once you're saying something, meaning if you're saying something is nice and tam is b'mashu, right? So let's say you have one drop of wine that's yayin nesach that falls into 1 billion drops of regular kosher wine. So if you're saying mashu, that means it's asur. So it means you're not basing it off of taste. So if that's the case, even if the wine was spoiled and it's making everything taste bad, we're still not going to go with it. Right? So that's this Tosfos here that goes into a whole thing. Right?
Why wouldn't we learn that from Nevela though?
I don't know. Learn out from Nevela that what?
If it's spoiled, it should be mutter legami. Nevela that's spoiled is mutter akila.
I don't know. This is what, I know because you first have to explain why.
Nice and tam lefgam is because it's heter, not because it's nice and tam.
Yeah. I don't know. I hear what you're saying because if it's maybe there's a difference between it being spoiled or not.
But that's how we learn it from Nevela. Nevela has to be completely strucha. Nevela strucha is mutter. So we learn from there that nice and tam lefgam is mutter, the same as Nevela.
Right.
But it's not because of the tam. It's because it itself is now mutter.
Right. I hear you.
And maybe that's why Tosfos ends up the maskana that all nice and tam lefgam is mutter.
Well, okay, I don't know. Maybe there's a chilik between one and the other. I don't know. Okay, so let's see the reasons here. So Abaya on my third line, Abaya on Mashu. Abaya says it's Mashu Basar Taima Azlinan. We go with the tam, right? And they both have the same taste, meaning wine and grapes has the same taste. That's the way about min b'mina. It's one type that falls into another type. Min b'mina b'mashu, and a min b'mina is a mashu, right? which means it's never batal. The Rava nice and tam, and Rava says it's nice and tam. Also shma is linan. We go with the name. Okay, v'hai shma lechud, v'hai shma lechud. Each one has its own name. One's name is wine, one's name is grapes. V'avali min b'she'ein amina, and therefore we go with the name, and it's a min b'she'ein amina, min b'she'ein amina b'nais and tam. And one min and another min is b'nais and tam, and we go with the name. Right now, I mean, I'm waiting for the oilam to jump up over here and say, what? Aren't we discussing taste into taste? Who cares that it has a different name? Right? What are you saying? So, okay, it's called, I call it cholent, you call it stew. So, mamela,
Cassoulet.
what?
Cassoulet.
Yeah. Yeah, right. You say whatever you call it that, I call it this. Mamela, it's considered two different tastes, right? So this is a big tumult. The Ramah in Yoredeya paskins like this Gemara, like Rava, which we normally paskin like, right? Except for the Yalka Gams. So, and you go with the name, right? Meaning it's a name. If it's two different names, it's Misha and Aminut. To which the Shach says, what are you saying? How can you go with names if we're dealing with taste? The problem is you have a Beferish Gemara that says that Rava goes with the name. Right? So the Shach, a long Shach, says that it's only by Yayin Nesech and by Klayim. That's where you would go with the name. For any other Isser, we don't go with the name. We don't care what you call it. It's going to be all totally in taste. Right? Okay, it is yeah.
Does the name, if I have apples and applesauce, okay, it's two different things. If I pour whatever yayin nesach on an apple, it's probably going to roll off mostly if it's not cut. If I pour it on applesauce, it'll be lost forever. You know, how do you the names really? I hate to whatever the names. The names oftentimes tell you what form the food is in, like wine and grapes.
Right.
So how could it, what's the Havamina to say it was min b'mino?
You want to say in that particular case that would be
That case sounds very odd. I mean, let's say that case. I could probably think of other cases.
I see saying in that particular case, maybe it's going to be
How could you say it's min b'mino? It's wine and grapes. It could be. I'm not saying it's not nice and tam. I'm just saying. How could you call it? It's called by different things.
You're saying in that particular case.
Yeah.
Thank you. I guess I'm allergic to your kasha.
Finally got one.
What's the difference between Chamra Atika and Chamra Chazit?
Right, so that's going to be part of it, right? That would
be
part of it.
The difference in flavor. We call a difference in flavor min b'minay versus min b'she'ein minay. If there is a difference in flavor, it's min b'she'ein minay. So as long as it doesn't give a flavor, it's bottled. When it's the same min and it's the same flavor, then you can say there's no bitter. Min b'minay ain't a bottle. Now we're dealing with what's called min b'minay.
If it was white wine and yayin nesach red wine falls into it, I still can understand it's min b'mino.
No, they have different flavors. Then you'd have an issue because they have the same name. They're both wine.
Right.
But they have different flavors.
So I have no problem, but I have no problem calling it min b'mino. This is wine and that's wine. Okay.
So the Sach says that no one would say that. If it's a different flavor, even Rav agrees that's min b'she'ein amina. That Shach that the Rav was quoting has two parts. First of all, everyone agrees it needs to be a different flavor. Rava agrees to that too. Rava has an extra chumrah in these things that are not batul, that they need also, in order to not be batul, they need to have the same name. But if they have a different name, that would still be, even though they have the same taste, that would still be called mibish einamina. It's really a kula, not a chumrah, but yeah.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, it's a whole sugya. It's a whole sugya. I don't think we're going to get into it now. I mean, saying in this Gemara, but is it going to come up? I don't remember. Definitely comes out. I just don't remember. There's a chulin in here.
In chulin.
Chulin. It's chulin. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So Tanan, so the Gemara asks two kashas. Again, the machlokes in Abaye and Rava is Rava says we go by the name. If it's got a different name, it's min b'she'einu minoi, and it would go with shishim, or what we call nos and tam. If it's and Abaye says no, it goes with the taste. So the Gemara asks a couple of kashas from our Mishnah on Abaye. Yayin nesa shenof al gavi anovim. It says yayin nesa fell on grapes because agadaydich chamru chadata ba'anavi. We're talking about new wine that fell on grapes. My lab nos and tam. So doesn't the Mishnah mean that it's nice and tam, right? Because you're saying that it's two different types, right? It's wine on grapes. So when it says loy b'mashu, the Mishnah doesn't mean it's nice and tam. The Mishnah means that it's also b'mashu, even the most small amount. Okay, so but they're going to ask another kasha. But if the sefer says this is the rule, kol sheba noseh b'nice and tam aser, if there's hana from nice and tam, it's aser. Kol she'en ba'noseh nice and tam mutter. If there's no hana from nice and tam, then it's mutter. Michlal de b'nice and tam askinon. It sounds like we're talking about nice and tam, meaning the end of the Mishnah says that it's all tali, is the taste is no taste. Right? So then it sounds like we're dealing with taste here, not mashu. Abaye, what's Abaye going to say? Masnisin b'chamra tikava novi. We're talking about old wine with grapes. So there, that's considered. That's for sure a different taste. All right.
And these grapes have cracks.
These grapes are going to have cracks. Yeah, it has to be. You're right. That has to be with cracks. Otherwise, you just wash it off, right? Yeah. Okay. So then the Gemara brings another example. Chala.
Who used to come to us to the yeshiva from Svas?
Rabbi Weingot?
No, not Rabbi.
Oh, you're talking about. I know. I was wondering. You mean the one that looked like Mashiach?
Mashiach, yeah.
Rabbi.
Hakimian?
No.
Hakimi?
No, not a Sephardi. What was his name? Yeah, give me a Shemon Esrei and I'll remember. Yeah, what about him?
No, so he loved. When we were learning this, I told him Batul B'Shishim, but Nun Tes 59 is nice and Tam is Asa. 59 is Asa, and Batul B'Shishim, Nun Tes, nice and Tam, yeah. I told him that. He loved it. He mamish loved it.
I hear. Yeah. That's very good, Taka. That is very good. Yeah, but it's a whole machlokes whether shishim is really shishim 61 or 60 though. Yeah. Okay, so challah b'chamer b'challah b'shicha. What about vinegar that comes from wine and vinegar that comes from beer, and they got mixed together? B'chamira dechiti v'chamira desairi, or you have chamira. How do you call it? The sourdough, or leaven, whatever it is, of wheat and sourdough of barley. So what's wrong with that? Right. So that's because one of them is truma. So what are those? Again, they're both vinegar. This is sort of Rapanach. I'm not sure if this answers your question. Right? They're both vinegars, but different types. Like nowadays we have rice vinegar and wine vinegar, something like that. So the same thing here. Right? So nice and tam. He says it's nice and tam. Both timers in it. We go with the tam, and they're considered by time l'chud, by time l'chud. Each one has different taste. Beer vinegar and wine vinegar taste different. Right? V'havale min b'shein amina. It's one type in another type, meaning two different types. And min b'shein amina, but nice and tam. Min b'shein amina is nice and tam. Rava Amar b'mashu. Rava says it's mashu. Basa shmaz, and we go with the name. V'hai chala mikri, v'hai chala mikri. They're both called vinegar. V'hai chamira mikri, v'hai chamira mikri. They're both called leaven or sourdough. V'havale min b'minoi, and then it's min b'mina, v'chal min b'mina b'mashu. That's their machlokes. Rav Henoch, that's basically what he's. Oh, very good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Abamar Rabbi Mino Amino. How do I know this? Mino Amino, I'm sorry, Mino Amino the basa taimaz linan. How do we know that we go with the taste? The Tanya, because we learned that Rabbi said Tavlin Beis v'Gimel Shemus v'Hein Min Echad. Let's say you have spices, that are two or three names, but they're one type. So Rashi says the example is black pepper, white pepper, and long pepper. I don't know what that is. But basically, they're all pepper. Yeah, and let's say they're all chumas and mai, whatever, chulin, what do you call it? Tevel, or something like that, or klayim. I don't know, klayim. Would it be klayim? Arla, whatever, any of that type of thing. Oy min gimel, right? Or you have three different names, but three different types. Yeah. So asurin, they're all asurim mitzdarfen, and they combine with each other to make the shir, or to make taste. Right? Again, Rashi's the Gemara is saying this: either three types of pepper, but they're all called pepper, or you can have pepper and salt. I don't know if it means salt. I don't know exactly, but three separate types, three separate names. They all combine. What are we talking about? We're talking about something to make things sweet. Since all these things are meant to spice or to season a pot, right? So therefore, they all combine. So it says, so if you say we go with the taste, they're all giving taste. But if you say that we go with the name, each one of them has a different name. Right? Meaning, even though they might be giving the same type of taste, but Lamaisa, they're all different names. Right? Rava Amarloch, and Rava will tell you how many Rameir, this is a whole different story. This is Rameir, the Tanya Ram Yehuda Aimer, Mishum Rameir, Minayin L'chol Yisurin Shabbator Shem, it's Starfen Zems. How do you know that all Yisurin and the Torah combine with each other? Shenemar, Loisaicho Kol Te'eva, don't eat anything disgusting. Anything that I told you that's disgusting, don't eat it. Meaning they all combine, right? So that means if somebody eats a half a kazayas of treif and a half a kazayas of orla, right? He's going to get malchus for eating a full kazayas, even though we normally you only if you eat a kazayas. Are you chayiv? So here you only ate a half a kazayas of each isur, but doesn't make a difference. All right? Fine. Yeah. So fine. So now the next case, challah legav chamra. Let's say you have vinegar that falls into wine, right? Vinegar of isur. Let's say it comes from yayin nesach that falls into wine. Divrei hakol b'nois and tam. Everybody says that's nice and tam, right? Because that's one that both has a different name and a different taste. Chamra legav challah, but let's say it's wine that falls into vinegar, right? What's a pshat? What changed? So Rashi says that when the wine goes into the airspace of the barrel of vinegar, the strong smell of the vinegar already overpowers the wine taste, and when the wine hits the vinegar, it's already one taste and the same taste. That's the way Rashi explains it. And it's equal with smell, which we're going to see on Amabay is exactly where smell plays into this. All right? So Chamra legav chala, Abaya Omar b'mashu. Abaya says it's a mashu. For Rava Omar, because he holds it's one taste falling into the same taste. Rama Rabba Nice and Tam. And Rabba says that no, it goes with Tam. Abaye Amar Mashu. Abaye says it goes with the Mashu on Tamid Beis now, because Reicha Chala, it smells like vinegar, the time of Chamra, and it tastes like wine. So we say Chala, that's considered vinegar. Why? Because smell is stronger than taste, which is a whole different thing in science. Min b'minai, it's a min b'minai, the whole min b'minai b'mashu. And if one type falls into another type, it's b'mashu. Rav Amar b'nois and tam, Rav says it goes with nois and tam. Reicha chala, the time of chamra, if it smells like vinegar, but it tastes like wine, chamra, then it's wine. Ba'avalei, min b'shein aminai, it's min b'shein aminai, v'chol min b'shein aminai, b'nois and tam, min b'shein aminai is with nois and tam. All right, so again, another machlokes, whether we go with smell or taste. All right, this is where you get into all these flavored seltzers that be'etzem don't taste any different, I think. Some claim that if you hold your nose and you taste the flavored seltzer, you will not be able to taste the flavor. I don't know if that's true or not. Right? But maybe that's totally in this machlokes. Right? The smell overpowered taste. Okay. Next case, and this comes up, mamish, this next sugya comes up, and mamish comes up daily in for people that are baking and cooking, etc. So we'll see. Hi bastia. So bastia, right? So bastia is basically they would have a barrel of wine and they want to poke a hole in it in order to be able to smell the wine to see what the story is with it. Did it get it ruined? Did it ferment? Etc. etc. It's a high bastia. Yisrael shabradami. So if a guy wants to go smell the Yid's wine, that's okay. Because what's he doing wrong? Right? Now the question is, what's the chiddush? Why would you think that a guy can't go smell your wine? So Taisa says, the second Taisa just says the Kamash Malan that we don't make a gezerah, right, of Yaltu Yisrael, that we're going to allow a Yid to go smell a goyz, which we're going to say is not allowed, according to Abaya. Okay, so anyways, again, so high bastia, which is basically a way of smelling wine. So Yisrael Shabradami. A guy to a Yid, that's fine, but Yisrael can a Yid go smelling a guy's wine? So Abaya Omar Asur, Abaya says Asur, Rava Omar Mutter. Rava says it's Mutter. Okay, what's the machlokes? Abaya Omar Asur Reicha Milsa. He says Reicha's Milsa. So since Reicha's Milsa, it's considered, even though all it is the smell of the food, it's considered something tangible. Since it's considered something tangible, right? So therefore, it's also because you're getting hana, right? Rava Amar Mutter. Rava says it's Mutter. Reicha lav milsahi. Reicha is nothing, right? So this comes up when you go for your Cholamaya trips to the city and you smell that geschmacka, the geschmacka stand in the city, and that smells good, right? So according to Abaya, it's asa. According to Rava, who we paskin like, it's mutter, right? Now, so Amar Rava, mina minallah, the reicha v'loy klum. How do I know reicha is nothing? But reicha of klum who? The tanan tanashis he could become on shel truma. Let's say somebody put on a fire in an oven, and he would come is a cumin of truma, as a pass, and then he baked bread in it. Meaning, so now the oven smells from this spice. And now he went and he baked bread in it. So pas muteris, the pas is muter. Lefisha ain't tam common, ella reichel common. There's no tam common in there because it burnt out. Right? All it is a smell. Right? So since it's just a smell, so you see the smell is nothing. Abaya shani hosan to mikli isura. But Abaya says, no, you can't bring a riot from that. There, the isser is already burnt out. Since the isser is burnt out, so therefore it's not a problem. Right? Now, why does this come up so often? Because can you bake challah in a oven that just cooked chicken in it or meat? All right? and the oven still smells from the chicken and the meat, but there's no mamashas in there. Can you go put the challah in there, right? Or more common, people on Erev Shabbos, so they want to cook fish in the meat oven, right? So can they do that? There might be still a reach. So if you pass
How
in the
about the
reich,
Ze'aya? You have Ze'aya also,
zeh is only if it's at the same time. L'chayra.
Also, you're putting in your challah right before Shabbos to warm it up. To warm it up, and you're putting it in the fleshik oven. No.
What do you mean? If you're warming it up, was warming it up different than cooking it?
It's not different, but I don't know if necessarily cooking it. But a lot of people are putting it in on air, putting it in and out. When you go to shul, the women put it in the morning. When you go to shul, the women put it in to heat so that it's warm when you get home.
Right. So what are you saying?
So that makes it fleshik, right?
No, it doesn't make.
No, it's not. That's what we're saying. It does not make it fleshik.
So I'm saying it's
You're
not.
saying
fleshik?
if
No, it's not fleshing.
is it covered or not covered? That's first of all.
Covered meat. You have covered meat in the oven, and you put your challah in to warm up in the same oven. All you have is the reich of the meat. The oven smells of meat, but you don't have any
Right.
zayah. You don't have any mamashis. That's the same thing.
David, you could have that challah with shalashudas, with your butter and shalashudas. Yes.
Thank you.
No, because otherwise, David, it'd be usher to make it because there's an isser to make fleshik bread. Right? Right? There's an isser stam to make fleshik bread, even if you eat the bread.
I
What?
thought it's around milchik bread.
What? There's an isser both ways, Rachman. You can't make milchik bread or fleshik bread.
Yeah.
The
Because
shaila
we're
you
afraid
pass
you're gonna eat it.
like the badei shulchan. If there's an isser to make bread, fleshiks or milchik.
Huh?
Once it's already bread and you make it fleshig, is it still usher?
Right.
That's the shaila.
Uh-huh.
If I will held that's usher, you have to throw it out.
Right. He was the
So these restaurants that
What do you have
serve
to
these,
throw out? What are you saying?
that serve these breads with pastrami on top of them, that means that they bake the bread first and then they put the pastrami on and recooked it again?
No, what? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Bread with pastrami on it.
So I'm saying like
You're talking about yeah, as long as it's recognizable, then it's fine.
That's what you're saying. That's the
Yes.
Aaron, Reb Feivel held that if you have challah on a table and it becomes fleshig, you have to throw it out. It's not just usher to bake fleshig bread. It's usher to have
You
fleshig
can't
bread.
eat challah with your chicken. You can't eat challah
Yes,
with
while
your
you're
chon?
eating it. While you're eating it, yes. But if it's stam on the table and it becomes fleshig by someone touching it, it's then usher after the suda. You have to throw it out.
So the pastrami sandwiches that we started on the table and we benched, and they still have pastrami sandwiches left over. What happens then?
Again, that's
No,
nicker.
if it's nicker, then it's a
Touches
pastrami
with
sandwich.
fleshig hands. If you have meat grease on your hands and you touch challah on the table, you touch two pieces and you only take one. So that second piece became fleshig. After the suda, it's going to be a problem. You put it away. The rest of it you can have with cream cheese. That piece is fleshig. It has to be thrown out.
Not everybody agrees to that in that situation.
This is why pizza's okay. It's because it's nicker. That's the whole thing.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yes.
What's
so what is it? Is a hana on it that has to be thrown out? Or can I give it to the dog?
You can give it to the dog. It's not.
So it's not. So what is the isser? Or is this? What's the isser?
It's an issa d'rabbanan to bake bread that is fleshig or milchig in case you'll eat it with the other min. That's it.
This is not.
Right, but it
this
wasn't
is not
baked.
the case. This was not baked with fleshig. So this.
That's why I said that after it's baked, it's now a machlekes for Feivel and all the other plaiskim. The Feivel holds it becomes usher. The other plaiskim holds it doesn't necessarily become usher.
Um,
So I'll hold by Reb Feivel with the Erev, but not with the bread.
you don't have to go with him and everything. That's not the, we don't roll that way.
I just
Yeah.
happen to like quoting my Rebbe when it's
Aber
like,
sei, Higi Azman, Kitzer Shulchan Aruch shir.
Okay, let's go a little weiter. Anyway, so that's where you get into the whole Recha milsa or not. It's and if you put bread, let's say, into a clean toaster, all these types of things. So Lamaisa, we paskin Recha is lav milsa, so smell is not anything. Maramari Katanoi, Maramari says it's actually a machlokes Tanoi. Why? Haroy de paschama. If somebody takes paschama out of oven, right, so hot bread he took out of oven, and he puts it down on top of a barrel of truma, right? Yeah, you could see the wife. You could see this happen. The wife asked the husband, "Take out the challah from the oven." Erev Shabbos, take out the challah. He takes out, he puts it down on top of a barrel of truma. He said, "Meshuggah, what are you doing? You put the challah down on top of a hot barrel of truma, right?" So, okay, or the equivalent. So, or he puts it down on the
Well,
milk
it's either
counter.
that or I'm taking out the garbage. What do you want?
Exactly. Right. So he puts it down about a hot barrel of truma. So a barrel of truma. So Rameir Oisiv review the matter. Rameir says asa. Review this says mutter. Rabbi Yosi matter b'shel chitin v'oisil b'shel sa'irim. Rabbi Yosi somewhere down the middle. He says wheat. If it's wheat in the barrel, I'm sorry. If the bread is wheat, then it's going to be mutter. If it's made out of barley bread, then it's asa. I don't know about spelt teretz, because barley draws more taste out of the barrel. Okay, so what's this machlokes here? My lava kamifiki. The marsav arecha milsi. Marsav arecha v'loy klumu. Meaning that what's a machlokes? You took the hot bread, put it down. There's only smell coming out of that barrel of truma. There's nothing more. They didn't touch the wine. It's only the smell of the wine, right? So the ones that Asa say must be that the reach is something, and the other one says reach is nothing. So the Gemara says l'Rava v'adei Tanoi. According to Rava, it has to be a machlokes Tanoi because there's no other way to explain the other shita. Right? If Rava says that smell is nothing, so then how do you understand the shita that says here that the bread on top of the barrel is also? There's no way to explain it other than to say that there is a shita that says that there is a shita that smells it's also, that says that smell is also. But who says, according to Abaye, who says that's the machlokes Tanoi? Because Amalach Abaye lami yitmarala. Didn't we not learn? So here we go. There's a bunch of variables here. If it's hot bread on top of an open barrel, I'll tell you Aleph now. Everybody holds it. That's awesome. Because there, the reach for sure is going to go. You had an open barrel and hot bread. If it's cold bread and a closed barrel, everybody holds it. That's mutter. You're not going to say that taste goes through, right? Then you would never be able to have a takeout food that's fleishiks in the same bag as milchiks or something like that, right? There's no machlokes only by hot bread and a barrel that's closed, or passenenes v'chavis psucha, right? It's half and half. Get hot bread, closed barrel, or cold bread, open barrel. Vaha didi nami. So Abaya says, and by me too, by bastia, where Abaya says you're not allowed to let a yid smell the wine of a barrel of guy's wines. So that's like hot bread and an open barrel, where everybody's going to be maida that is awesome, right? The shaila is, what does Rava do with this? Because the L'chayri is quoting Tanaim here. So, and Rava has to say that it is a machlokes, so how does how you going to understand that? So it seems like the Mefarshim say that Rava says that bastia, the yid smelling the barrel of a guy, is considered cold bread on a closed barrel, right? And Mamela, he's not really able to get any sort of benefit from it. Yeah. Okay, we'll stop over there. Tomorrow we continue with the whole nice and Tom and the nice and Tom business. Yeah, good Tvach and a good Chaydesh.